Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Patrice. In this video, we will be discussing things I've read. And now let's get started. So the first book I'm going to talk about today is titled, Can You Solve the Murder? And this was written by Antony Johnston. And this is a cozy mystery slash choose your own adventure. And let me read the summary to you. There's been a murder at Elysium, a wellness retreat set in an English country manor. You arrive to find the body of a local businessman on the lawn with a rose in his mouth. It appears he was stabbed with a gardening fork and fell to his death from the balcony above. But that balcony can only be accessed through a locked door. The key is missing, and everyone in Elysium is now a suspect. So I really liked this book. I thought it was fun. Like, it was a fun book, like a choose your own adventure. You actually get scored, like, based on the amount of details and number of clues you were able to pick up on. And I just felt it was fun because it was like you were picking your own adventure based on the choices you made. You could either solve the mystery or you could end up being removed from the case. So it's really like up to you. And it makes you feel like you're actually in the story because you are picking like how the events unfold. And I like that it ended up turning into a game where, you know, you can see if you're like a master detective or not. So the things that I didn't enjoy about this story, um, the way that the book is set up, because you are picking your own adventure, it makes it easy to like read ahead, and it may influence your choices. So sometimes, like when you flip to wherever it tells you to go, like there's additional story on the page, and it may not pertain to the clue that you just answered. So you can see, like, it may say, hey, so and so was not part of, the killing. So you see that right there. So it's like, okay, well, I know this person didn't do it because I have just read ahead. So that was like tricky. And then because you are being scored, like, you used up so much like paper, and after a while it was just time consuming, like trying to keep up with all of the clues and the papers, because you actually have to write things down. And then there was like a code, a couple of puzzles to solve. Now I did enjoy that part, so that wasn't tedious. It was just keeping up with the clues and the amount of paper. And then you like had to go back, like if you miss certain clues, you would have to turn to a different part of the story. So like if you didn't pick up the clues, like it sort of kind of like just dragged it out a little bit. So after a while it's just like, hurry up already. I want to be done with this story. Like, who did it? I don't care who did it. Like, that even happened to me. Like at the end, I was just like, I don't care who did it anymore. Like, I just want this to be over. Okay. Like, this was fun in the beginning, but now it's turning into a chore. And I will admit, my first go round with the story, I got removed from the case, and they wanted you to start over from the beginning. And I'm like, who would do that? Like, that is dumb. I'm not starting over from the beginning. I'm just going to go back one clue, and I'm going to pick the other choice instead of the one that I just picked. So that's what I did. And I eventually ended up solving it. And my score, I think I got, yeah, that I was very perceptive or something like that. So overall, this is a good book. The next book we're going to talk about today is titled The Librarians, and this was written by Sherry Thomas, and this is a mystery. So this is my first book that I am reading by Sherry Thomas, and I enjoyed this story, so I am definitely going to pick up more books by this author. But let me get to the summary first. There's no place to hide their secrets anymore after four quirky librarians are pulled into a murder investigation at their library. Hazel flees halfway across the world for a new beginning. Jonathan, a 6'4" former college football player, has never fit in anywhere else. Astrid tries to forget heartbreak by immersing herself in work. And Sophie, who has the most to lose, maintains a careful and respectful distance from her coworkers. But soon that won't be enough. When two patrons turn up dead after the library's game night, the librarians' quiet routines come crashing down. The only way the librarians can save the library and themselves is to let go of their secrets and trust one another. So the main thing that I enjoyed with this story were the characters. Like I really liked the characters. After a while, I found the story got a little bit outrageous with what was happening. Um, but because I enjoyed the characters, it made it a little bit easier to just like suspend my belief and hang in there. Um, I felt like everything was just tied up a little bit too neatly and conveniently. Like everything fell into place at the end, and like there were like no loose ends. Like everything was tied up. So, and I know I'm usually on here complaining about cliffhangers and like the story not being finished, but this was just like too on the nose. It's like, oh, okay, all right, that's what we're doing. Everything's just going to work out. That is not realistic. Like I said, some of the plot points were very outrageous. So we have Hazel, she ends up like being like this badass and she's like able to like fight and she's like sneaking around and stuff like that. It's just like where did you come from? Like how do you know how to do all of these things? Like it makes no sense. And then like a couple of the other characters, they just have like this like huge skill set and it's like where did you guys learn all of these things? Like, it's like really convenient that you guys know all of this stuff. So that's what I meant, like, about everything being tied up conveniently as well. And then, like, the mystery, like, it was interesting, but it was just like too many things were happening with this mystery. And the people who ended up being the culprits, it's like, yes, they were obvious, but once you get their backstory, it's like, okay, this makes no sense. So overall, I did enjoy this story, but I don't know. Like I'm hanging out anywhere between a it was okay and it was good. So that would be like a 3 to 4. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to give it yet. I think I still need to think about it, but I did enjoy it at least. And like I said, I think Sherry Thomas, I think she has like a mystery series, like another, like an actual series. I don't know if this one's going to be a series, and I'm not sure if I would read it just because, like I said, everything just worked out too perfectly. at the end in this one, but I am going to try her other mystery series. The next book I'm going to talk about today is titled Time's Undoing, and this was written by Cheryl A. Head, and this is a historical fiction slash mystery. And the summary says a young Black journalist is determined to reclaim her family's history by uncovering the truth behind her great grandfather's murder decades ago in segregated Birmingham, Alabama. Inspired by the author's own family history, Time's Undoing is at once a tender portrait of one family's journey toward healing, a searing indictment of racial injustice in America, and a hopeful plea for a better future. I really liked this book. I enjoyed this so much. So it moves pretty quickly. Like I was able to get through this, I think, in maybe 2 to 3 days. It kept me guessing, like the mystery part did actually keep me guessing. So it was engaging. And the time that this book is written, so like you're dealing with like a lot of racism, Jim Crow, those kind of things. So the topic, like you could get, I know like a lot of other books when they write about this topic, it can get a little graphic. This book, it is not graphic at all. There is some violence and stuff like that, but it's not like the horrific um, details that you can sometimes read about when you read about stories from this era. So, some of the things I didn't enjoy, I really wish this book had had some discussion questions. Like, I felt like this was a story where you could discuss it, like you if you wanted to read this for a book club. So, I would be interested to see if anyone has come up with some questions. I may actually put this on my list um, to read for book club if I can come up with some good questions. And the main character, so I believe the reporter's name was Megan, and her great grandfather's name is Robert. So she is trying to dig into what happened to him. He was murdered, and she wants to find out the truth of what happened. And once she starts digging around, she starts to get like threats and stuff like that. And it just stirs up a bunch of trouble. And some people don't want this history to come out. So I'm going to say Robert's actions played a big role in what happened to him and led to very tragic consequences. Like some of his choices, it's like, guy, like, why would you do that? Like, in this day and age, you know what's up. You know, if you do this, it is going to cause like trouble. And here you go. Like, it was just like like dumb things. And I don't want to victim blame, like, what happened to him, like, definitely should not have happened. Um, like, the reaction to what he did was totally out of proportion. But it's like, guy, you know what time you're living in. You know what's up with these people. You know what they're going to try and do to you. So, yeah, he totally played a role in his own demise. Um, this, I know a lot of people when, they were reviewing this book, they said that it read like a little young adultish. And I can kind of see where they're coming from, but that didn't take away anything for me from the story. Like, I would say this reads like The Filling Station by Vanessa Miller. Like, it's written in a way that like a lot of people can read it. It's not like trying to go over your heads. It's in plain language. It's simple, so you can get the story. Now, some of the things that happens, like with the threats and all of the extra drama, yes, that is like a little YA-ish. So if you don't like young adult fiction, maybe this wouldn't be for you. But I still think you should read it. I enjoyed it. And usually young adult fiction, well, I do like a little bit of that. I just don't like when they make stupid like choices like in their lives. Like when they do stuff and you like, why did you do that? So I think you would still enjoy it. Overall, I ended up giving this a 5 because it was great. I think this was from, I think this was written like a while ago, like 2021 or 2020. I think it was 2021. So this is a book, like I haven't seen anyone else talk about this. So I am interested. If you've read it, let me know what you thought down in the comments. The next book we're going to talk about today is titled Hot Pot Murder by Jennifer J. Chow, and this is a cozy mystery. And the summary says, trouble is brewing for cousins Yale and Celine Yee after a hot pot dinner boils over and ends in murder. Yale and Celine's food stall is going great, and they've been invited to attend an exclusive dinner with the local restaurant owners association. The members gather together for a relaxing hot pot feast until Jeffrey View, president of the group, receives a literal shot to his system and dies. Yale and Celine step up to the plate and investigate the dinner attendees. It's up to the detecting duo to figure out what really happened before their friends and family have to close their businesses for good. So I like this book because it contained recipes, for my foodie mysteries. If it doesn't have recipes, you are already being demoted in my book. Like if you are going to be set in a restaurant, a bakery, uh, anything with food, you have to have recipes. If you don't, I don't know what you're doing. I also enjoyed this because it contains diverse main characters. So I did read Death by Dumpling by Vivian Chin, and her book also contains Asian characters. This book, the main characters are Asian. So I enjoyed that, we're getting a little bit of diversity besides like little old white ladies who like to solve mysteries. Now we are getting like more and more characters. Um, some of the things I didn't enjoy though, like I didn't like their investigative style. Like they did like a lot of going back and forth questioning people, which I know you have to do, but it was sort of like repetitive. Like they just kept going around and talking to the same people, same people, same people. And there were no um like clues that they found or anything. It's like they ended up solving the mystery because the murderer came after them. They didn't solve it by using their noggins. So their investigative style was just like a little boring to me. And it just made the book okay. So it was okay. It wasn't like a great one. I don't know if I would read any more from the series. This was actually not the first book in the series. This is the second book, and it did not make me want to read more. So I probably won't be picking anything else up, but still, it's okay. It was just okay. It wasn't bad. It was okay. The last book I'm going to talk about today is titled The Manual for Good Wives. This was written by Lola, Jaye, and this is historical fiction. And I will read the summary. To the world, Mrs. Copperfield is the epitome of Victorian propriety, an, an exemplary society lady who writes a column advising young ladies on how to prepare themselves for marriage and be better wives. Only Adeline has never been a good wife or mother. She has no claim to the Copperfield name, and she's not an English lady. Now, a black woman born in Africa who dared to pretend to be something she was not is on trial in the English courts, and she's ready to tell her story. So, this book, I had a number of things that I enjoyed. So, I actually enjoy the dual timeline. So, we have a woman named Temmie, and it talks about like how her and her husband, how they got together and how they ended up in England. And then we also get like the drama that happens after her husband dies. And then we are moving forward to sort of like the present day, and we are dealing with one of um like her family members in the future. I guess her future family member. I don't. What do they call it? Oh, descendants. Ooh. We are following one of her descendants named Landry, and Landry is having issues with her boyfriend, and she ends up staying at a house that has been passed down through the generations to um, the descendants of Temmie. So now Landry is learning about Temmie and her story, and we are also like navigating Landry, like kind of learning how to stand up for herself in this relationship and just in her life in general. So I enjoyed the dual timelines. I actually think I liked the present day timeline a little bit better than Temmie's timeline. I like Landry's story more. I think I wanted more from that timeline. If we get another book with these characters, I would be interested to see um, what happens to Landry and like her growth and everything from what happened in this story. And this was a pretty quick read. Like the book looks thick, but it really isn't. Like once you get into it, it's pretty fast moving, quick story. Like even when you're going back and forth in the timelines. I enjoy getting Temmie's journal entries in the Copperfield columns. Like I thought that was a nice way to break up the story. So Landry finds a journal that Temmie wrote, and it just sheds like more light on her story, and it helps Landry to learn more about, this ancestor that she really didn't know a lot about. And it also helps to like repair some of the trauma and drama that is going on in Landry's family right now. So I really like that. And there was a moving scene in the story where Landry honors her mom who passed away and her ancestors at the river. So I really enjoyed that part. Um I don't know, like for some reason, like I have been on like a whole kick with like thinking about like ancestors and like how um they can show up in your life and in your story, like even now. So I don't know, like I'm really interested in that. So it was like nice to see that show up in this book and in this story. Um, yeah. Some of the things I didn't care for. So Tammy really caused a lot of the drama. She just did not make like smart choices, and it really ended up having like consequences for her later on. Like some of her choices, I'm just like, lady, like, why did you do that? Like, you know, this is going to come back to bite you, like, in the end. Like, it really is. And the house that she ended up leaving for future generations, the name of it was Tumbleberry. For me, like, I just wish that um, Landry would have stayed in the house. Like, I just wish she would have moved there. But that is just like, my own quibble. So I guess it's not really like a dislike, like it really altered the story. It didn't. I just wanted her to stay there because I enjoyed like the people that she met while she was living there. I do have like one quote that really touched me as I was reading the story, and it is on page actually I have two, page 345, and it says, if we accept that pain passes through the generations, maybe joy can be passed down too. What about the joy? The joy. So I thought that was an interesting quote because, like we always talk about generational trauma and we're always talking about like, the things that have wounded us and hurt us and just, our ancestors usually when we're talking about them, that's what we're talking about. But I like how this has us focus on the joy because they didn't just pass on like bad things or trauma, they also passed on their strength and wisdom. And, I'm just a believer that when people pass on, like they don't just leave you, like they still like come into your life, they interact with you. So, like when you're having a hard time, I think they come to bring you comfort and stuff like that. So I just like how we're not focusing like only on the pain of our circumstances or the pain of what our family may have done to us. But yeah, if we can also remember the joy, like remember the good things that they've passed on too. And on page 367 in the epilogue, Temi writes in her journal, despite everything, I believe fairy tale endings do exist. They exist. And I just thought that was profound because here we have this woman who was born in Africa. She comes to England. She had to deal with racism and not being taken seriously because she was a woman. And after everything she went through, all the drama, all the hurt and all, she still believed like in a fairy tale ending. Like she still believed like something good was going to come at the end. Like she still had hope. And I thought that was like a good way to end the story on hope. So yeah. So this book, I really enjoyed this. And Lola Jaye, like I wanted to read The Attic Child, and they didn't have that at the library, but they had this book. And I am glad that I picked it up. Like I saw it like months ago and I was like, well, I want to wait for The Attic Child because I didn't know if the books were related or not. and if I needed to read them in order. But I'm glad I got this. I'm glad I picked it up. I gave this a good overall review. Like, it was a good book. And I guess that would equate to a 4. So I'm trying to do a new rating system because I didn't want to do like the 3.5 and 4.5 and that kind of stuff. So if I give it a 1, that means it was awful. If I give it a 2, that means it was just bad. If I give it a 3, that means it was meh. It was okay. Nothing to write home about. It wasn't good or bad. It was right there in the middle. If I give it a 4, that means it was good, solid, good story, enjoyed it. And if I give it a 5, it was outstanding. It was great. And that is just for me. Maybe you didn't like it, but that's my rating. So this one was good, and it gets a 4 from me. That's all of the books I have for this episode of Things I've Read. Please let me know if you have read any of these books, if you enjoy them or not. What did you think? As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you the next time. Bye bye.